The year was 1756. Europe's great powers plunged into a conflict that would reshape the world. The 7 Years' War, as it became known, was a truly global struggle. From the battlefields of Europe to the forests of North America, fighting raged. The war drew in major powers like France, Britain, Prussia, Austria, and Spain. It also engulfed their colonies in Asia, Africa, and the Americas. Never before had a conflict been fought on such a vast scale. The 7 Years' War was sparked by complex rivalries and ambitions. In Europe, Prussia, led by the ambitious Frederick the Great, sought to expand its territory. This brought it into direct conflict with Austria, eager to regain lost lands. Meanwhile, in the colonies, Britain and France clashed over control of trade and resources. The stakes were high. The outcome of the war would determine which nations would dominate the 18th century and beyond. At the heart of the European conflict stood Frederick II of Prussia, better known as Frederick the Great. A brilliant military tactician, Frederick led his relatively small but highly disciplined Prussian army against a coalition of enemies. Austria, France, Russia, and Sweden all united against Prussia, seeking to curtail its growing power. Frederick's greatest victory came at the Battle of Rossbach in 1757. Vastly outnumbered by a combined French and Austrian force, Frederick's army launched a devastating surprise attack. The Prussians achieved a stunning victory, cementing Frederick's reputation as a military genius. Despite facing constant pressure and even near defeat, Frederick's resilience and tactical brilliance allowed Prussia to survive and ultimately retain its hard-won gains. While Europe raged, a parallel conflict unfolded across the Atlantic. In North America, the 7 Years' War was known as the French and Indian War. Here, British colonists clashed with their French counterparts for control of the Ohio Valley, a vast and fertile region. Both sides relied on Native American allies, adding another layer of complexity to the fighting. The Caribbean, a hub of the lucrative sugar trade, also became a battleground. Control of islands like Martinique and Guadeloupe meant control of vast wealth. Naval battles raged as Britain and France vied for supremacy on the high seas. Perhaps the most consequential theatre of the colonial conflict was India. Here, the British East India Company, a powerful trading corporation, found itself locked in a bitter struggle with the French East India Company. Both sides sought to expand their influence and control over the lucrative trade routes of the Indian subcontinent. Section 4. The Battle of Plassey, a turning point in India. The fate of India hinged on a decisive battle fought in 1757. At Plassey, a small British force led by Robert Clive faced a much larger army fielded by the Nawab of Bengal, allied with the French. Clive, a shrewd and ambitious commander, used a combination of brilliant tactics and cunning diplomacy to secure a stunning victory. The Battle of Plassey marked a turning point in British fortunes in India. It shattered French ambitions in the region and paved the way for the East India Company to become the dominant power in India. The victory at Plassey had far-reaching consequences. It established British control over Bengal, one of the wealthiest regions of India. This victory also laid the foundation for British imperial rule in India, which would last for nearly 2 centuries. Section 5. A New World Order, Legacy of the 7 Years' War. The 7 Years' War concluded in 1763 with the signing of the Treaty of Paris. The treaty redrew the map of the world, reflecting the dramatic shifts in global power. Great Britain emerged as the dominant colonial power, having secured vast territories in North America and India. France, defeated and heavily in debt, was forced to relinquish much of its colonial empire. Prussia, despite being exhausted from years of war, retained its position as a major European power. The 7 Years' War had a profound and lasting impact on the course of history. It established British dominance on the world stage, setting the stage for the rise of the British Empire. The war also sowed the seeds of revolution in America. The heavy taxes levied by Britain to pay for the war fueled colonial resentment and contributed to the outbreak of the American Revolution. The 7 Years' War was a truly global conflict with global consequences. It reshaped the balance of power and set the stage for the era of revolutions and empires that followed.